UFC Vegas 93, we have 13 fights headlined by Alex Perez taking on Tatsuro Taira, and I am very excited for this card. It is an Apex card, but honestly, it's one of the best Apex cards of the year. So before we get into it, make sure you let me know in the comments what your favorite bets on this card are. I'm going to be running through each fight on the card quickly. If you want a more in-depth, longer breakdown, check out my video from a couple days ago. I go a little bit more in-depth for every matchup. For this one, though, we're going to be keeping it short and sweet and just going over my picks and favorite bets on this entire card. So let me know your favorite bets in the comments, and make sure you click subscribe. Really helps out the channel a lot. Let's start at the bottom, man. First fight of the night, we have Shailen Nerdembeke taking on Mel Costa. I do lean Costa here. I think he's got the slicker striking. The grappling's pretty close. I think both guys could potentially take the other down. I think Mel Costa just has the better overall, more technical striking. Shailen maybe has a power, KO advantage here. I could see him maybe landing a big shot, but overall I'm going to lean with the guy who's a little bit more technical everywhere. I'm going to go Mel Costa, but it is a close fight, and I think the line's pretty accurate, so I will pick the favorite. No bet on that, though. We move on to the next fight. We got Julia Palastri taking on Josephine Knudsen. I'm going with Knudsen here. I told you guys I was really struggling. You guys know I don't bet a lot of women's MMA, and when I do, it's usually an over. It's usually a fight goes to decision, or it's a big women's MMA underdog. But this is a rare occasion where I seriously struggle. Do I bet a minus 180 Knudsen or a plus 125 by decision, or minus 125 chalk prop? Overall, I got the fight goes to decision right now. I think Knudsen wins. I think she wins by decision. Both girls are tough and durable. Neither have been finished. I parlayed the fight to go to decision with something else later on, and I am considering minus ones. It's dropped. Knudsen minus 170. That would be the first time all year, first time in probably almost 2 years, maybe longer, that I've laid, let alone chalk, but even like minus one. I don't play women's favorites ever, let alone a minus 170, but I really do think Knudsen should win this fight. I think she's a more talented girl everywhere. We'll see if I get to the money line, but I did parlay. Fight goes to decision. It was like minus 325. I parlayed that with something we're going to talk about in a minute. Next up, we got Jekka Sergi taking on Weston Wilson. I do think Jekka wins this. I think he probably knocks Wilson out. I honestly am surprised Wilson's getting another shot. But Sergi's a guy who's kind of a goofball. Like, he just doesn't fight to a game plan. He's gotten bailed out by just landing some bombs in some fights where he doesn't look great. I don't think he's that great. Do I want to lay 3-1 or more on him? No, I don't. The Sergi by KO is like 2-1. It's just be a pass for me. I can't get around to putting my hard-earned money on Weston Wilson. And if you're playing the money line, I think you pretty much have to bet him. So pass for me. The pick is Sergi KO. Next up, we got Carly Judice taking on Gabriela Fernandez. Two strikers. Both girls have struggled with the grapplers. I don't think either are going to grapple a ton. Maybe you see one try to switch it up and surprise the other by doing a little bit of grappling. Maybe Judice, she's less fights. I've seen her get out-grappled less times, so maybe she has a little bit better grappling than she's shown with only 4 pro fights. Maybe she can show us something. But both girls are probably going to play out on the feet. It's going to be close. I think Fernandez probably edges it by landing the bigger, more powerful shots. But Judice does have more volume. So if Fernandez can't hurt her, and it just ends up being a volume-based decision, I could see Judice winning. So I can't hate a plus money shot. I think if you're betting it, it probably has to be her. But I think I'll just lay off of it. I do slightly edge Fernandez, and it's not like it's a huge odds. So I'll lean Fernandez decision, but we'll move on to the next fight. No bet on that. No. I do have fight goes to decision, though. I forgot. I did play that straight. I was thinking I parlayed it, but I do have Fernandez versus Judice. Fight goes to decision at minus 155. A lot of people are seeing the power from Fernandez, thinking she's going to finish her. I really do think this fight goes to decision. I think both girls are pretty tough. Maybe Fernandez can clip her, but I'll say minus 155. I like that price. We move on now to the next fight. Garrett Armfield versus Brady Highstand. This is a fun fight. Two guys that I think both guys are young enough, still making improvements, getting better. I like Garrett Armfield on the feet. Obviously, Brady is going to be needing to do some wrestling. I do think he is pretty hittable, and we've seen the gas tank. mean, he does push a heavy pace, so maybe that's why he's getting tired. But he is young. I'm sure he's working on that. But we've seen Armfield get tired too, and that's one of my few reasons why I don't want to lay the chalk on Armfield. I do think he should be the favorite. I think he wins. I think that, maybe Highstand gets some takedowns. I think he probably does take him down a couple times, but I think Armfield will probably land the better shots in the feet and just do a little bit more damage to edge these rounds. I also think if there's a finish, I would lean on the Armfield side, unless it's maybe an early sub from Highstand. But I'm going to go Armfield, probably Armfield decision, but he could land a shot. No bet on that fight, though, for me. Next up, we got Nate Maness taking on Jimmy Flick. I do think Nate Maness should be a big favorite. It's just, man, he hasn't been a very reliable guy, and it is weird seeing him as like a 5-1, 6-1 favorite. I don't think you can lay that money line. Even the KO props are kind of crazy. Yeah, it's not really a lot of props I think make Nate Maness playable. So I honestly think, I haven't played this, but I think the only way Flick wins if he is able to pull a Malcolm, what he did to Malcolm Gordon and find that early sub. Flick, even though he's a flyweight, doesn't have the best gas tank, so I don't see him winning like a decision by wrestling for 2 rounds. I think he's pretty much got to find the sub or it's a bust. So plus 700 Flick by sub, it's a potential. It's something that caught my eye, but putting my hard-earned money on Jimmy Flick doesn't feel much better. So probably just going to be a stay away for me. I think the line is justified, but I can't lay minus 600 on Maness. Next up, we got Tagir Ulanbekov taking on Joshua Van. Man, first of all, I want to say I'm a big fan of Van. Think this guy has a ton of potential. He is only 22, so I think, in my opinion, if you saw my breakdown, I just think it's too much too soon. I like the boxing from Van, but we have seen him grappled. We have seen him taken down. We've seen him, I don't think his jiu-jitsu or his wrestling is the best. I mean, he's only 22, so, and, I'm sure he hasn't even had that many years now to even be around high-level training partners. So, I just think this is too much too soon. Maybe he can catch Ulanbekov, who I do think, we've seen eat some body shots and doesn't look like he loves that. Maybe Van, who's good there, can land some shots in the pocket and hurt him. But I really think Ulanbekov takes him down. Probably submits him, but like the sub prop was like plus 135 or something like that. I went ahead and just parlayed him. It dropped to minus 200, and I get it, Van. He's a popular prospect right now, but we've seen a lot of them losing. You guys know me. I just think a little too young, man. He's been looking good. They've been trying to build him the right way. I just don't think it's going to work out. So give me Ulanbekov to take him down, get the submission. I parlayed him up. That is my other side of the Knutson goes to decision. That's minus 104 for those two to both cash. And I do have him in a second parlay. He's in both of my only 2 parlays. You guys know I really don't parlay a ton, but the past couple cards I've been finding a few here and there, and there is one other parlay I have Ulanbekov in that we'll talk about here in a bit. But give me Ulanbekov by sub. Maybe he just wrestles in for 3 rounds, knowing the dangers on the feet, but I think he finds the sub. We move on to the next fight, man. Adam Fuga taking on Josh Quinlan. I think I'm just going to pass on this one. I do ever so slightly lean the underdog in Adam Fuga, so it makes me want to bet it, but is plus 100 or right around even money really enough to get me? Maybe I think it's a couple percentage off on the probability for the line, but is that really enough to really put my money on it? I think he should maybe be like minus 120, so it's not like it doesn't feel like there's a ton of value on it. I'm probably just going to stay away. I could definitely see Quinlan just being too fast, too powerful, and just catch him on the feet before Fuga can get a takedown. So Quinlan is dangerous. I just worry about the short turnaround, and I do think Fuga is a dog. He'll fight for your money, but he's just not, the line isn't enticing me enough. I think I'm just going to stay away from this one. So give me Fuga as the underdog. Basically even money, but I think he's like plus 100 right now. We move on. Actually, I think he might even be like plus 110, but still, it's just not enough for me. Next up, we got Asu Amabayev taking on Jose Johnson. I always want to say Jose because I freaking all out. But Azu Amabayev, he should win this fight. It is kind of crazy, 5'4" versus 6 foot, but like, 5'4" is kind of normal for this division. That's flyweight, 125. So is Johnson going to be able to make 125? It's crazy enough him making 135. So now he's going down another division. He's fought at lightweight. I think, there's a good chance this fight could get called off. If you're going on DraftKings, you can bet if Johnson's going to make weight. I'd love to see what the line is on that. But, we'll see. Is the fight going to happen? Is he going to make weight? Is he going to miss by like 4 pounds so he doesn't really have to suffer? That would be the real move. If he does that, you definitely want to bet him. So I want to definitely see the weigh-ins on this, but I'm not going to lie. Like, do I think, gun to my head, how do I think it plays out? I think Almabayev takes him down and submits him. We've seen Johnson get submitted by worse grapplers than Almabayev, but, I'm not 100% sold on Almabayev, and Johnson is dangerous, man. He's not somebody you really want to bet minus 600 against. Like, he could knock any of these dudes out. If he can make weight and not look like he's about to die, which would be crazy, because he's not even, like, it's not like he's just bones. Like, I mean, he's 125 just seems crazy. I used to just be shocked and talk about how he would make 135. Like, so we'll see what happens. I got to see him on the scale, but like 5-1 on Johnson is kind of like, I mean, you look at the KO, I think it's like plus 700, plus 750. Yeah, but like he also has subs, and like if Almabayev just throws himself on the takedowns and these long limbs of Johnson, he could catch something sneaky, and if it's not too much more of a line, do I really want to do that? But I do think it would have to be inside the distance. I think this fight definitely goes inside the distance, either Almabayev sub or Johnson KO most likely. So what I did is I bet the fight does not go the distance. I parlayed that with Ulanbekov. Ulanbekov minus 200, and then parlayed with Johnson and Asu doesn't go to the distance is plus 136. So, I think I see a finish on either side, most likely on Almabayev, but I'm just going to play violence and trust in Ulanbekov to give him a veteran lesson. We move on, though, to another bet I have on the card, Miles Johnson. I always want to say Johnson, right? It's right after Johnson. But Miles Johns taking on Douglas Silva de Andrade. Yeah, you guys know if you watch my video, man, I'm on Johns here. I think he wins the fight. I think if it goes to decision, I thought about the decision-only prop, but you know what? I'm not going to get fancy with it. He does have power, just doesn't always translate. I think he does hit hard enough to potentially knock out a 38-year-old guy who maybe he is juiced up, and, they both probably are, but, plus 100 on Johns. It's starting to grow. He's like minus 130 now. I still think it's playable. I think he's the side. Give me Miles Johns, man. I do like Douglas De Silva, but I think he's outgunned here. I honestly am not, like, I'm pretty high on that method, or I mean that new James Krause gym with Trey Ogden, Miles Johns, Garrett Armfield. They got some, all of them at that camp been looking good. So we move on though to the featured fight, Lucas Almeida taking on Timmy Kuamba. I thought about taking Almeida inside the distance only, like finish only prop, but I feel like he might be checked out. I've been trying to just see what kind of shape is this guy in, but he's not like I remember when I would watch tape for his past fights, he was always posting stuff. He's like not posting as much now, and I try not to read too much into that, but like, it's hard to see like what kind of shape he's in, because I know Timmy is young, hungry. This is a big fight for him. He's on a top of a main card, so I'm going to stick with my pick of Kuamba. I'm not going to play any props, I don't think. I think it's just going to be a stay away. I think Kuamba wins, but, I don't want to lay minus 200. I do think back down at his natural featherweight weight class, he should win the fight mixing some takedowns. But Almeida is dangerous, and this is a step down for Almeida. He's been fighting killers, straight killers. But we'll move on to the co-main, and I'm going to keep it short and simple. Aliskerov taking on Chikoli. He's going to absolutely freight train Chikoli. Now you're seeing Hamzat might be pulling out and Aliskerov trying to step in. I'd be cool with him just scrapping this fight, man. I don't need to see him murder Chikoli. They're trying to punish Chikoli for pulling out of fights, especially last minute. Aliskerov's going to absolutely steamroll this dude. You can't do anything with any of the bets. I mean, I thought about like playing like the KO, because I really don't even think he's going to even try to take down Chikoli, who is a huge dude. Just juiced up. Both these dudes have been popped, I'm pretty sure. But Chikoli, more of a like sub jiu-jitsu guy. Aliskerov, I don't even think, not that he's scared to go on the ground with him, I just don't think he's going to even wrestle. I think he comes in here and knocks Chikoli out. I thought about playing the KO prop, but I think I'm just going to lay off of it, man. Hopefully they just scrap this and Aliskerov goes and gets beat. You're going to hear a different tune if they match him up against Rob, because Rob's going to piece his ass up. But Hamzat went running. Hopefully Alaskarov steps in. We move on to the main event, man. And you guys know me. You know, you've been seeing me all week. I'm on the underdog here. I'm on Alex Perez over Tatsuro Taira. And again, I'm a big Taira guy. I've always liked Tatsuro. You know, they've tried to build him up the right way, but just like in the Joshua Van, you know, breakdown, still 24. Like, this is a big step up, man. And like, you look at his fights, and it's like, you know, he was having enough troubles with Charez, man. He gassed out in that fight. He got kind of saved by the bell, and like, what was it, the second or third round? Put was in like a nasty guillotine. Alex Perez, man, like, he's been fighting nothing but killers. I don't care about the wins and losses. You got to look at the performances. Could Taira find the early sub? Could he maybe? I don't see this happening, but he could clip him. You know, he's got power in his hands, and I think he's young and training hard, and his striking has gotten better, and he has some natural power. Nothing crazy, but he's got power. But it's nothing Perez hasn't seen, man. Perez is going to throw more volume. If he doesn't get submitted early, I think he's going to absolutely put a beating on Taira. The leg kicks, the volume. Man, go look at... he went and wrestled Roman, what is his name? Roman Bravo Young. Go check out that match and tell me that Taira is a better wrestler than Bravo. Like, you know, that's a dude who's going to be wrestling in the Olympics, 2-time national champ. And Perez was stuffing like all his takedowns. They went to a draw in a grappling match. Perez can grapple, bro. Like, he's been submitted a couple times by some of the biggest submission threats. And I'm sorry, but we just don't know Taira's there yet. So give me Perez. I put a solid bet on him. I might double down because I saw that line's creeping up a little bit. I might double. Don't let me get plus, you know, 200 or something. I might max bet this shit. I think Perez should be the favorite. I think he wins. Taira better get an early sub or he's gonna get pieced out. But that's it for me, man. Let me know in the comments your favorite bets. We went a little longer on this. I tried to keep them a little shorter, but I rambled a little. Good amount of bets for a low-key card, but I am excited about this card. Let me know in the comments what you got. I'm going to catch you all then. I'll catch you on Sunday for the recap. Good luck in your bets. Enjoy the fights. And make sure you click the subscribe button. Peace.